even in biblical literature and Napoleon Hill's research, they were saying when two or more people are focused on something, that something tends to come into reality. Hello and welcome. You've landed on Zero Limits Living. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. Every week I bring you inspiration and information to transform your life. This show is now so popular and so quickly that you can see it or hear it on 1,000 platforms, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, YouTube, and probably anything you can name and probably anything you're using right now. I'm making it easy for you to binge because I'm putting all the episodes in one place. Go to ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com, and you can even sign up to be notified when there's a new episode posted. ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com. Now, people talk about coaching. Coaching's been around for a very long time, and I trademarked my own coaching program almost 20 years ago. It's called Miracles Coaching. It's a system that works, it's proven, it's tested, and you can find out all about it for free. Go to miraclescoaching.com and test drive it. Find out, get a consultation. My latest program is mentaltimetravelsystem.com. Gives you a way to change the past to empower your present so you can create your future. mentaltimetravelsystem.com. And it should be no surprise, I've written 90 some books, so I always have a new one coming out. And my latest book is Unexpected Kindness. So on Amazon, there's an audio version, Kindle, hardcover, paperback, or just go to unexpectedkindnessbook.com. Now, I have two guests today, and only one other time in the history of doing this show have I interviewed two people. So we're going to have a little bit of a dance here, a bit of a square dance. We'll be sharing partners as we go through this interview. But let me tell you who my guests are. And if you're an entrepreneur, would-be entrepreneur, I think you're going to be on the edge of your seat and taking notes. We have Cindy Makita Todd, who takes being an entrepreneur to a new level as co-founder and chief operating officer of PEMA, P-E-M-A. Cindy is an outbound marketing expert who specializes in building business teams, operational structures for business, and company culture. Running a 7-figure company and being an influencer with global speaking engagements isn't simple, but Cindy makes it look like a second nature. After founding Hired Institute, a career coaching company that enables professionals to reach the levels and careers they desire, Cindy would notice a common thread amongst those as an entrepreneur. A business without any new leads is unsustainable. And I also have Timothy Todd. There is no doubt that Tim Todd, has made his mark on the entrepreneurial world. As founder and chief growth officer of PEMA, Tim has become a master of the world of outbound marketing and business growth, focusing on increasing sales and clients for your business. From a young age, Tim always had a passion for building things, whether it be fixing up classic cars, we're going to have a separate conversation about that, or building up companies for his clients. He still applies the same amount of energy and finesse into his work. Having run an SEO agency for over 3 years, Tim found a new passion in creating outbound systems for other companies to receive more leads and larger revenue. Taking this passion with his business partner and wife, Cindy Makita, they created their company, PEMA, P-E-M-A. Cindy and Tim, welcome.
Yes, that was great introduction. I appreciate that. It's great to be here.
I'm curious about PEMA. Do you pronounce it PEMA, P-E-M-A?
You got it. Yeah, it's Pima.io. That's that you pronounced it right. Sometimes people say Pima, but you got it right first try. I'm impressed.
Well, isn't there an animal movement that's close to that? I keep wanting to say the people for the eating of tasty animals, but that's not it. That's PETA. I'm
There's all kinds of stuff. There's like Pumas and Pumas and all that stuff. So,
Yeah, well, you're in the right the stream right there. What does PEMA stand for? PEMA.
Yeah, it's persuasion, PE, math, and avenue. So persuasion,
Mhm.
math, avenue, the three essentials to a successful marketing campaign. You need persuasion,
Yep.
math, and the data needs to make sense. And then you
Mhm.
need the right avenue or channel.
I see. Okay. Well, you reduced it to three things. They sound like core elements here. How did you stumble on this formula for success?
Well, kind of long story short is I did run a detailing shop way back in the day, like a car detailing shop,
Mhm.
and got really good at SEO. And I thought, hey, if I just get really good at doing website ranking, like it's the old, build it and they will come. And so I started an SEO business, but I had a lot of trouble getting clients. This was back in 2015, maybe.
Mhm.
And so that's when we got really good at, like, hey, how do we go out and get meetings with high level executives, and how do we get meetings with high level owners, and how do we get these systems and processes so we can go out in the marketplace and attract really like high ticket clients. So
Mhm.
got really good at that for the SEO company. And then 2018 we ended up training like 20,000 people how to do this, and just had so many people saying, hey, why don't you just do this for us and build this for us. And so since then we've done this for over 700 clients, with a
Oh,
97% success rate. So like, for us, this is it was a natural progression, but it's kind of, there's no if we work with a client, like it just, we get it to work just because, once you've done something so many times, and you have enough data backing it, it's pretty straightforward process.
wow. Congratulations. That's very impressive. And Cindy, what was your role in this, or how did you help discover this? Or
Yeah.
create?
So Tim and I partnered up in 2020. So we call it Pima 1.0. So
Mhm.
initially, the company was running, it grew very fast, and didn't have the right systems and processes. So although on the back end, we were doing an amazing job with getting new clients on, the culture of the company, the right people and processes were just not there. So in 2020, Tim and I actually got married in 2020, right before the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, the business actually crashed.
Yeah.
And so we rebuilt in 2020 from scratch. And we put a heavy, heavy focus on the culture of the company that we wanted,
Yeah.
on getting the right people in the boat. And so for me, I have a background in operations and people and talent. And Tim is the marketing and sales guru. He's exceptional at that. And so we have very complementary skills. Tim brings the sales, the revenue, and me and the client success team, we deliver on it. And so we have very complementary skills and a lot of synergy.
Well, that is fantastic. That's also fairly rare, I think, in having that combination that works. You said that the pandemic caused your business to crash, or it crashed, during that time. How many people did you lose, and how many people did you rebuild with? Where are you at in terms of your
Mm.
employees now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. So we're about 25 employees right now.
Mhm.
And why it crashed was because of me, right? You gotta it was because I didn't know, I was really good at sales and marketing. We got like 240 retainer clients in like a year and a half from zero. And so it grew fast because I've just been really good at sales and marketing, but operationally it crashed, hiring the wrong people, building the wrong culture, or just, and so the company ended up starting off really good intentions, and then it ended up just being the operational mess. It was, and that crashed, and Cindy didn't know that it was crashing because we got married, and it literally crashed like on her honeymoon. She's like, "Why are you on the phone all day?"
What's happening?
And
Wow.
had a
Wow.
background in asset management, all that stuff. We literally went down, I think, two employees, had to refund a bunch of clients. It was pretty
It's
brutal.
ground zero.
Ground.
Yeah.
We say we built this company from the grave up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but Cindy had a background working with ultra high net worth individuals, like building out structures and plans. And so I was in a dark place, and Cindy was just like, hey, what if we just built this together from the ground up? And for me, it was, my eyes it was like, so I couldn't see anything. Like I was like hopeless. And in that moment, it was like, oh yeah, with Cindy in our corner, we could blow this up. And it was really Cindy who built the background, the backbone, the culture, and all of that. And so, I'm pretty good at making promises, and Cindy's really good at keeping those promises to the clients.
Well, you do need both ends of a promise. So that is good to know that you've got a team there. That is an inspiring story. It sounds like Cindy was kind of keeping the sunshine on you when you were feeling the darkness. Is that accurate?
It is more accurate than you think. There was
Wow.
definitely times that I was, and I'm a very happy guy, but there was times that I felt depression, which is not normal for me.
Mhm.
And then just to have her in the corner, I mean, we got, I don't know if anybody is better at making ramen noodles than Cindy and I. We got so creative during that time, going from
Yeah.
high income to
Mm.
low. And there was, I mean, just I like having money a lot more now, but it's nevertheless, even when we were low, it was having Cindy was in the business as my partner, as my wife, was just, I couldn't have asked for anything better.
That is so
100%.
wonderful. I can feel that in my heart. So that is wonderful. And I'm glad for both of you. Cindy, I have to ask, a lot of people not only went through the pandemic, but are still struggling now. They
Mm.
may not have a business. They're concerned about the economy. The world is very uncertain. We don't know about the financial climate. We don't even know what kind of money to use in the future. Is cash king? It used to be when I was growing up. Now it may
Yeah.
not be. How have you maintained, and I'm asking this for everybody, how have you maintained the sunshine? How were
Mm.
you able to remain positive when you saw him, this guy that you love, feeling the darkness, and even as he admitted, going in the depression area? And yet you're the life raft, you're the lifeboat, you're the life preserver. How are you doing this during this dark time? What is in you to keep you bright?
Yeah, love that question. I think it's two things.
Mm,
One, it's vision. So Tim and I have a vision for our lives, for our marriage. We have goals that we want to achieve and attain together. And I think when you have vision, where the seasons come and seasons go and the cycles of ups and downs, you hold on to that vision
mm,
because behind it, it's like the promise of a better future, right? It's like that desire, that hope that you can hold on to that thing that you're working so hard for. So I think, as like the Bible says, for lack of vision, my people perish, right?
I
And
was
so
thinking,
I think
yeah.
vision is so important for everybody to have. And I think with vision comes hope. So if you know you're working towards something, you have your eye on that better life, better future, prosperity, whatever that is for you in life. I think that keeps you motivated even during really tough times. And I think the second part to that is understanding that everything in life happens in seasons.
Yeah.
So there will be seasons of like where things are really great and there's abundance and prosperity and all the good things. And there will be seasons where there's challenges and struggles. And you have to be able to endure the seasons, right? Because if you're in winter, just know that like spring, summer's coming. So I think those two perspectives help me and for the two of us in our marriage, like keep up even during really challenging times.
That is so beautiful. You have spoken very clear wisdom there, and those are very helpful things for all of us to hear. I would wonder if there's people watching, and again, I try to play the agent for the people that are watching or listening and try to imagine what's on their mind. And so they might be inspired and they might say, vision, that's what I need, vision. How does somebody discover their vision? Maybe you can say how you discovered your vision to help them discover theirs. Somebody sitting at home, they want to find their vision, they want inspired. That's what Zero Limits Living is all about. How do they find their vision? How did you find yours?
Great question. I think it starts with like a deep burning desire for something.
Mhm.
That's the starting point. So I think it boils down to the question of like, what is it that you want? And being okay with laying that out without reason and without judgment of what people are going to say, just that brutal, honest question of what is it that you want?
Mm.
And I think the more honest you can get with yourself and what you really want, that like deep burning desire, because Joe, I believe that everybody has a purpose, that all of us are put on earth for a reason. When we can confront like what is inside of us, what is that desire that you have because there's purpose behind it. So if we can get honest with that, like burning desire, I think that's the starting point of vision. Ask yourself, like, what is it that you want? Write it down. Tim and I, we write out our goals every morning, our vision, what we're working towards. It's a discipline for us every single day. And so I would say, start with that question. What is it that you want? What is that burning desire inside of you? Be brutally honest about it, regardless of what people will say. And I think that's that starting point to start to craft vision.
That is amazing. There's so many things that come to mind as I hear this fascinating story. Did you read Napoleon Hill along the way, Think and Grow Rich or Law of Success or any of his books?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
a lot of Napoleon Hill's books. Yeah.
All right, because he talks about having a burning desire. And so his research showed that was necessary in order to be a success. But I'm also imagining that there's people, and I was there. I was homeless at one point. I was in poverty. If somebody had said, "What's your burning desire?" it would have been to survive. So if their first answer is to survive, how do they go to the second answer, with the deeper one, to pull back the veil and go, "Oh, I want to," in my case, be an author. But for somebody else, how do they dig just a little bit deeper?
So, do you want to answer that?
Well, yeah, you definitely, John. I mean, I just think of like because when we built this company from the grave up, I mean, it was like no money in the bank account. Just some bad stuff happening. Some ex-employees trying to like steal our old clients and do all this crazy stuff. And I think I totally get that when you're when you're at that low, you just like, I just want to be okay. Like, I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to stress.
Yeah.
And so I think there is like, for us, when we write out our goals, it's like that you have to have the milestones, right? Like, okay, so I've got this big vision. I know for me, it's like, I like cars. And so what I found is when I visualize, it was easy for me to feel the emotion of driving in a nice car or like, so I think just really, and I think one of the hardest things is if your vision is like what you kind of think everybody else says it should be, and even subconsciously, you might be limiting yourself. And I think how to know is if I need to be able to feel the excitement when I visualize something for that to pull me. And so I think there can be a lot of like, I'll give you an example. Where I was limiting myself in my goals, and it was, I would write, oh, I've got this penthouse and I've got these cars, but I would always have to write, oh, but I've given $2 million to my church. And it was like I had to justify, like, oh, if I'm going to have this kind of luxury thing, I need to also be giving. And we're big givers. We like to give. But I think just that trying to justify the things I wanted and the things we wanted, like, was a limitation. So I think, and one side, it's like, yeah, you got to have a milestone to survive. But I think your vision has to be something that if you think about it, like you could actually internally get emotionally excited about. And at least for us, that's when we write out our goals every day, we're constantly going like, what's getting us excited and what's not. And when we're at that low point, it is hard to see beyond that. But if you don't at least set some vision for yourself, then it's really hard to make sense of the difficulties. But when you have that big vision for yourself, it's like you now see the difficulties as just like part of, as what we would say is part of the game. Just, everybody goes through these.
I got chills hearing your answer. That is a very beautiful answer. I also know that survival is not an exciting motivator. Survival is a motivator because you want to live. But to actually be enthused about life, excited about life, vibrant with life energy, you need to have a goal that's bigger, something unique to you, not just you, but I mean, anybody listening or watching, that makes them excited to get up in the morning. So I like that we've gone deeper with this. Now, I'm also fascinated, absolutely fascinated, that you both are writing your vision, your affirmation, whatever you want to call that, together, and you're doing it every morning. Are there mornings when one of you gets up and goes, "I'm grumpy, I don't want to do this"? Or are you both, there? Are you both just right on schedule and ready to go into the life?
He's always right on schedule. I'm the one that's off sometimes.
No, I think we're both. Interesting is we're both morning people. So we sleep really early. We get up 4:45. We're up. That's when our brains are the sharpest. And so he has a lot of energy in the morning. I'm also just like the discipline to just get up and do it. But Tim is really sharp in the morning. So when one of us isn't feeling
I'm like obnoxiously energized.
it's too much.
It's like once my feet hit the ground, it's like
his brain is on 100.
I think she's the only human being that's ever been able to handle my morning energy. So
Wow.
But when one person isn't feeling like it, seeing the other person just writing out their goals, I mean, that just, it pulls you to want to do it too, you know? So I think it's great that we have the partnership that we have, because we do lift each other up when the other person like is sleepy or isn't feeling like doing it, for sure.
This is so amazing. You're both so delightful and delicious just to listen to. You're both inspiring here. There's a whole movement called the 5 a.m. club where people just say, hey, get up 5 in the morning and start your day and do everything. And that's how I was raised. So to me, it was not a movement, it's my life. But you're even beating that. You're getting up. Did I hear you right? 4:45?
4:45, that's right. So we've done 4:30, we've done 5 a.m. 5 a.m. was a little late because we had to make the coffee and like you're still easing out of bed. So by the time you really get up, it's like 5:30 by the time we start writing out our goals. So we kind of found the sweet spot is 4:45. So that by 5:10, we're already writing. We've had our coffee and we can get into the day. So it's been some testing for sure.
This is fascinating. And so are you both sitting at a kitchen table? You both have coffee? Do you have a notepad? Do you have laptops? How are you writing out your goals?
yeah, we sit down and we have a nice condo, nice ocean view. So it's always inspiring to wake up and see that. And then we sit down just at our countertop and we have those like electronic notepads, like the Remarkables, and we write it down. And then this morning though,
Yeah, we had an actually interesting one this morning.
normally we sit down and we write them all down and we kind of visualize it, write down a section, visualize, write down a section, visualize, and then we'll go do like a morning prayer together. This morning though, her Remarkable wasn't charged, so she's like, could you just read the vision out loud? And so I read it out loud, and I was like, okay, I want you to visualize this. And she's like, can you record that for me?
See that every
So
morning.
just like listen to that every morning. So you actually asked that question on a day that we've never done that before. And
Today was new.
so maybe next week it'll be different than it was before. So I don't know, Joe. We'll see.
Well, it's evolving, it sounds like, but you also go with the flow. It doesn't sound like either one of you judged it as like, we can't do it this way. It was more like, let's seize this new opportunity and let's mold it in whatever way it's coming to us. And if this is the new way to do it, then we do it. And as you say, maybe next week it's completely different. But you're doing it every morning, which I find fascinating. And I think there's a trust issue that I'm impressed with, because for both of you to write these visions down and share them with each other means that there has to be a confidence there that you're both going to support each other. Do you understand what I'm saying? That because for so many marriages don't last, so many relationships don't last. You can read the news, look at the statistics. It's not unusual for them not to last. For them to last and to have two people co-creating their business, their reality by sharing their vision, that's remarkable. Do you feel that? Or are you just like this?
Oh, absolutely. No, definitely. We have a lot of alignment. So when we are writing out our vision and our goals, there's a lot of synergy with what we're writing. You'll read my goals and you can read Tim's. It's almost exactly the same. We're working towards common vision and common goals. I have different, say, health goals and he does, but when we're writing about our marriage and the kind of life that we want, the kind of business that we want, it's the same thing. So we're pulled together by that same vision and we know what we're working towards daily. And I think that constant reminder for us is what keeps us like motivated, driven, keep working towards the goal no matter what.
And so sometimes we'll ask like, okay, what kind of trip are you visualizing today? Oh, hey, what are you visualizing for this part of our business? What are you visualizing? And like so we actually get excited about each other's what they're visualizing. A lot of times I'll be like, we'll kind of like steal stuff from each other. Like, oh, I like that. I like that one better than mine. I'm gonna use that one. And so we do the word you said was co-create. And I've never heard somebody explain that or say that about what we do. And it is. We feel. I mean, it's not. I feel like what we have is pretty rare, and like you can't create it. It just kind of we're very aligned.
I see it
fortunate.
and I hear it and I'm very impressed by it. Do either of you have a secret vision that you don't share with the other? And I know we're recording and I'm putting you in the fire kind of, but you know, Tim, you're into cars. Are you into cars too, Cindy? If he suddenly puts on his vision, hey, I want to have a bigger car collection than Jerry Seinfeld, or he wants to have classic cars like Jay Leno, or you know, something along those lines. Are you like, I'm not going to support that vision, or are you in on it? Do you just go whatever
I'm
you want?
yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Whatever he wants, and whatever I want, I think he supports the same. I actually do like cars, so
Oh,
that
good.
I think on
Yep.
that one
More
area,
alignment.
it's
Yep.
interesting. But yeah, absolutely. If one person's like, for example, I have this goal, I want to be on a certain, like reach a certain level, a certain award that I have in my mind, like Tim supports me behind that. So we support each other with kind of the desires that we want. But I would say more than anything, we have alignment in a lot of the goals that we've set.
Oh, I'm so impressed. I got chills all over me when I think about this. Well, you know, even in biblical literature and Napoleon Hill's research, they were saying when two or more people are focused on something, that something tends to come into reality. The two or
Yes.
more people in this case are in the same house or penthouse, wherever you're at. So this is remarkable. Now, I don't want to stray too far away from your business because I know you want to talk about PEMA, PEMA. But at the same time, I was so fascinated by this co-creation that helped bring PEMA into reality. And then when I heard about COVID and things were collapsing and you brought it back from the grave, it's like, my God, this is inspiring. So
Mm.
what exactly do you do with PEMA? What is it doing today? How do you help people? How do you help entrepreneurs?
Believing Before Seeing, a new bestseller by Candace Barr. Order your copy today.
We help people get more customers. High level, it's we are in the outbound world. So think about, this is doing reach outs to emails, through phone, through social DMs. And the reason why we're so passionate about this, you look at any billion-dollar company and they are built off of outbound. You look at like, let's give some examples. You look at Salesforce. Salesforce used outbound to scale past $100 million and into the giant they are. LinkedIn, when LinkedIn started, they used outbound email to build their first million user base. When you look at Airbnb used outbound email to get their first user base big enough to raise a Series B. So you have all these multi-billion-dollar companies that are scaling fast from zero to millions and billions with outbounds, but then what's being kind of preached to a lot of small and medium businesses is, just post content, just
Right.
just do this, run this auto webinar and all this stuff. And so outbound is the way that you can reach into 100% of your total addressable market. Like if imagine it's like a lemonade stand, right?
Mhm.
If you are running a company and you put your lemonade stand on the corner, like you're going to get some clients. Like I say that is like inbound. You're going to get maybe 5% of the neighborhood that drives by and maybe buys lemonade. Outbound is, okay, cool. We set up the lemonade stand. Yes. But now we're going to go knock on every door in the neighborhood and ask who wants lemonade. And you might have people that didn't even know they wanted lemonade. You knock on the door and now they're buying your lemonade. So that's what we do for clients.
Well, you're
Is
calling
we,
it this outbound email, outbound reach. Isn't
yep.
that another term for reaching out with direct mail, only you're doing it online? Are you talking,
100%.
it is
Yep.
100%. Okay, so my understanding is correct. Why don't more people do that? Because, I come from a marketing background. I've been a copywriter. I did the direct mail before the internet came along. So I know about renting lists, bombing lists, mailing lists. In the early days of the internet, when you got other lists, you were called flaming if you were sending to people who didn't want to hear from you. People who get mail they don't really want, call it junk mail. Why don't more people do the polished version of that and go after the outbound traffic?
Yeah. I think that's one, fear of rejection.
Mm.
Because when you are doing, say it's outbound LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is one of the platforms that we focus on. So if
Okay.
I'm sending somebody a direct message through LinkedIn and they say, hey, stop spamming me, it's directly in my inbox. And so if people receive that, like, stop spamming me, or I'm not interested, or potentially somebody gets in a fight with their spouse or their partner, and then they vent out on you for sending them this cold message, that rejection really hits people, right? And so one, I think, is the fear of rejection. People don't want to feel rejected. If you're posting on social media, you just posted, you'll get some comments, potentially somebody said something negative, you just delete it, right? And so with outbound, it's very close to home. So I think that's one reason. I think the second is just the lack of education around outbound. I think things like social media, posting, webinars, those are more easily explained and taught, more readily available. Outbound is that one thing that's like this secret that's kind of out in the open, but not a lot of people are tapping into. And I mean, that's our goal of Pima, is to get more and more people tapping into this really powerful source and powerful way to get clients.
Oh, I love it. I love it. How are you finding, when you say this outbound email campaign, how are you finding, going with the lemonade stand, how do you find the people who could potentially be interested in lemonade instead of mailing to everybody, because they don't all like lemonade? How do you find the people with an outbound campaign that could potentially like lemonade and hopefully like your lemonade? Do you have a system to look for that?
I mean, it's so funny because as I was explaining outbound to you, and then you talk about being in direct response marketing, which is
so cool.
This is like the foundation of any good marketing. You go back to all the greats, right? Like you go back to Eugene Schwartz, you go back to other, I mean, and because that's the foundation it's built on. And I would say, so we actually have our own AI tools that we built, where we actually have access to over 500 million contacts on the planet. So we have a lot of data, but also we do, over 1 million outreaches a month, to 1,000 million decision makers a month, about 5 million outbound messages a month. And we've been doing bulk outbound since 2018, and we're data nuts. Like we collect data on every industry, every message that we've ever sent out. I mean, if you have a direct response background, the best of the best in direct response, they're nerds, and they were obsessed about the data.
Right.
They were obsessed about A/B testing.
Yeah,
One little word, you go from we can help you we help your team to help you, triples your results. And so I think that one of the reasons why people struggle to get it to work is because they don't know how to cut through the noise. They don't know how to get through. And then number two is just like the reason like why we're able to do it is because we have that data. We know what messages work with what audiences, what offers. We have clients that are, our biggest client we've worked with is doing 500 million a year, has 1,000 sales reps. On the lower side, we help brand new businesses that they're like literally a full-time employee trying to start a coaching job, trying to start a marketing company, and we help them build out their offer and get their first pieces going. So kind of everything in between, we've seen so much. And B2B specifically, I can't help you sell more coffee mugs, Joe, but
right.
like anything business to business, we help out with.
Believe me, I got enough coffee mugs, so I'll give them away at this point. Cindy, you had mentioned when we were defining what Pima was doing, persuasion was one of the first things you said. Where does persuasion come in? My copywriting background says I know what she's talking about, but maybe I don't. When you talk about persuasion with the outbound campaign and the math and everything, what exactly are you referring to?
Yeah, you're 100% spot on. It's the outbound message. So it's the copywriting, it's what we're pitching. It's getting people to stop, think about what are their problems, frustrations, hope, desires. Like we're playing on those specific things as it relates to the people that we're reaching out to. And then the ultimate goal is to get them to say yes to the offer. And in most cases, it's getting them to say yes to a call.
Yeah. And are you writing these? Do you have copywriters? Or I heard AI was mentioned here, and I was going to say love-hate relationship with artificial intelligence, but I think more of it's bittersweet right now until I figure out the code for it. So do you have copywriters? Are you using AI, or is there a blend of both? Or what's the secret ingredient to persuasion for you?
Good question. So for a long time, I was writing all the outbound copy. I actually first started off with Tim, and then he gave me all these copywriting books, and he's like, learn these, you're going to start helping. And so I love copywriting now. When I first started, I did not. But I started consuming all of these books. I started writing all of the outbound copy as it relates to our clients. I love
And
copywriting.
she was really good, like really good at it. I was like, you talk about getting lucky. Not only did I marry this amazing woman, and she wanted to help me build a business, she ended up being like an incredible copywriter.
That is
was a
fantastic.
Just
That's
throw it out there.
miraculous.
But
amazing.
so now we have a copywriting team. So we've like kind of built out the systems, we've built out the processes, all the data points of what we know works with all the A/B testing campaigns. And we can kind of give those to our copywriters, and they know kind of the cadence, what works, what doesn't work. We're refining our strategy always with regards to like how the market is changing, things like that. But yeah, we have a team now.
And so I heard you talk about earlier the social media stuff and webinars. Are you not doing that? Are you not impressed with that? Are you finding that doesn't work as well as what you're offering? Where are you at with because I hear so much about social media, you got to do all of it. And I personally, I'm 70. I can't keep up with this. And I've been with the internet since, they announced the internet. So, but the social media, I can't keep up. I don't know if that thing's working or not. I post videos every day and I don't even know anybody watching this stuff. Where are you at with it?
Yeah, I mean, I love that question because I mean, I think most people just want to do everything, or they get overwhelmed. They don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And I think building a brand is like, you look at some really big, I'll put it this way. So there is companies out there that are doing, $30 million a year, $100 million a year, and you don't know them. You don't know who their founder is. And because they're using outbound, they're building. And then on the other side, there's influencers that you will know that if you were to kind of like look at what they're doing revenue wise, you would actually be like, oh, I figured they would be making more money. And so now on the other side, there is people that do both, right? Like we actually got to our first like multiple 7 figures just with outbound. Now we do paid ad funnels. Now we do a lot of content. Cindy does more content than me, but we do a lot of that stuff. But even where we're at right now with all the content and the social media and stuff we still just get far more leads, clients, customers with our outbound systems than the other channel. And it's very input output, Joe. So same way as you're sending out your direct mail letters, if I send out this, 10,000 letters with this copy, it's probably going to convert it this much with this list. It's very predictable. So if I go, hey, I want to do $100,000 a month, or I want to do $1 million a month, or whatever your goal is, I can calculate it, just mathematical equation. I need to reach out to this many people, get this many calls, and close it. If I can close it at a 20% rate at this price, then I've got this many customers. Yeah. Whereas, I've got a buddy, and he's really a big influencer on YouTube, and he still does like outbound and ads because he's like, yeah, my YouTube gets me really good meetings and clients, but it's so up and down. I can't give predictable meetings to my sales team. So yeah, I think they're both fantastic and they're both good. But if you're like a newer, smaller business, or you need results quickly, outbound, you can get on meetings in a couple of weeks and start signing up clients.
You both are amazing. I like both of you and I like your energy, but I also love what you're offering here. I'm personally interested for my own business and some of the other goals I have. So when we're done, I'm going to talk to one or the other of you to find out how we can work together. Meanwhile, for all the people that are watching Zero Limits Living, what if there is a woman? I always imagine some woman in Idaho with 2 kids and she's unemployed, but she has an entrepreneurial spirit. She maybe has a business idea of some sort. Can she come to you and, begin from scratch? Do you have some sort of beginner's mind opening account? We can still work with you kind of an approach.
Yeah, that's a good question. So most of our very early stage business owners have at least some kind of offer. An offer meaning you kind of have, what you want to offer, right? The service you want to provide. We only work with service-based businesses online. Okay. And so you have to kind of have an idea on what you want to offer. Say, for example, you've been able to climb the corporate ladder and you're really good at that and you want to help other people do the same. So maybe you want to offer like a coaching program to mid to senior level employees, right? And you're like, I know how to get a job. I want to help other people do the same. We can help you craft the offer, the messaging, as long as you have a basis of what you want to offer, right? We can help you put the rest of the pieces together. But we don't really work on like the ideation side, at least not yet.
Okay. And are you affordable? You don't need to tell me what your prices are, but if there is somebody that's broke in Idaho sitting on a sofa listening to this show, they may not have a whole lot of money to invest, but can you still work with them?
So here's kind of like how we've done things, Joe, is
Yeah.
we actually are, if somebody comes to us, we are going to be, compared to other people, we are going to cost more.
Okay.
But we're the best in the biz. Like there's no other team that's going to get results and care about you like our team. However, we are like super passionate about helping. Like our mission is to end entrepreneurial poverty by flooding great businesses with dream clients. And so
nice.
that said, we have free content on how to do this, where we've like literally had people like they couldn't afford the service. We said, hey, here's some free content we have on how to generate leads on LinkedIn, how to close those leads. And they've come back to us and said, hey man, like I'm getting clients now from this. And so I would say we don't have like a really like low entry point thing. It's either like free, use some of our free resources that we give out, get some customers. And then when you get to a certain point, maybe you have some extra revenue coming in and you want to throw fuel on the fire, you come to Pima and we take your business to the next level. But yeah, that's that. If somebody's really entry level, I would say check out some of our Cindy has really good content. Cindy Makita, Makita on YouTube, and then Tim is social on YouTube. I've got good lead generation
And
content.
just launched a podcast.
Oh, and there, I guess there's in the
podcast at Tim and Cindy Dodd.
Yeah.
And Pima, is that at Pima.com, PEMA.com or IO? What was it?
Pima.io. Yeah. So www.pema.io.
And what does the IO mean? So many people are used to the com and net and, so many different versions. What's IO?
It's just like got adopted by tech companies because it like I got it because it was like for a 4-letter and I liked how the shapes were round and I'm like and then I created the acronym. I'm like, oh, the acronym is pretty cool. And then .io, I liked that it was circular. And then IO's actually got popular in the tech space, but what IO actually means is Indian Ocean, so it doesn't make any sense at all. But tech people like it, so.
Well, it's easy to remember, partly because it's a little different. Pima.io is a little different than .com. We're going to be running out of time, so I want to ask a couple questions here because I'm fascinated with both of you, and I thank you for agreeing to be here. And I've learned a lot, and I'm excited and inspired by both of you and what you offer and who you are. One of my questions is: you knew you were going to be interviewed here. What were you hoping you would get to talk about? Was there a story? Was there a question you wanted me to ask? Was there something you really had on your chest and you wanted to get out there? What is the thing you were hoping would come up? Here's your opportunity.
Yeah. I think Tim and I, we go into things like this with no expectation. Biggest thing for us is to serve and to empower and to help. And if there's even just one key thing that somebody learned that they can implement into their lives, into their business to be better, like that's a big goal and a big win for us. So
yeah, we're so used to when we go places, we're so used to like we're very intentional about being good listeners that it's kind of awkward, Joe, having you're so good at listening and asking questions and engaging. We're kind of like we feel bad, like we should be
asking you questions. We spoke too much.
So
no, you're both fantastic. Well, I'm also a car guy, so I have to at least wedge in a question about, do you have a favorite car when it comes to classic cars? I certainly do. So I'm curious to know if you do. Either one of you or both of you.
I mean, I wouldn't say favorite, but it's one of my favorites is the like that old school silver convertible Porsche Speedster. I mean, that'd be a cool one. What about you?
Oh, well, I've always been the Mercedes Gullwing from 55, 56, the SL300. It's been the fantasy car. I've driven it. I had a replica of one at one point. I had a small car collection. And I know where all the cars are. They made 1,400 of those SL300s, and 1,000 of them are still around. If any of them are running, just running, they sell for $1 million.
Wow.
Then they're beautiful cars.
You have to show me a picture. I'm not familiar with that one.
It's iconic. And if you had one that a celebrity owned, like at one point, Clark Gable had a car and Marilyn Monroe had sat in it, that car sold for $6 million.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wild.
Car trivia.
There you go. I'll have
So
to take a picture.
is that one of your goals? Because you mentioned a bigger car collection than Jerry Seinfeld, and
I
you
don't
wanted to
want a bigger car
continue.
collection than Jerry Seinfeld. God bless him and Jay Leno and all of those. But I do want a Mercedes SL 300 original gull wing from 55 or 56. The later year was a little better than the 55. I've got their entire technical manuals. I have every book on the subject. I know where every car is because of the directories I
Wow.
have. And
Wow.
it's on my, you call it your bucket list if you like, but it's on my
Uh-huh.
list. That is one of the ones. And I want to talk to you. We'll do it off the show about doing some stuff for me that might bring that much money in to go and,
There we
buy the
go.
car.
I
I know
love
where
I
they're
like
it.
the goal.
Okay. Do you have any final
As
words?
long
Last-
as long as I can take a cruise in it with you, man.
Of course, that, and we'll film it and put it on social media and drive a campaign to it. Oh, there's all kind of things we can talk about and do. I love you both. Do you have any last words, any inspiring comments, any quotes, anything that you want to leave as a takeaway for people?
Well, first, thank you to you for having us. Super appreciate being here. And I would say if people have a goal, set the goal and go all in. Bet on
Yeah.
yourself. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. And you want to add anything different, Tim, or you good?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of my favorite quotes is an old Chinese proverb, and it says that the best time to start planting a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is right now. And just we always live in the present and visualize the future. Cindy and I, we try not to live on any of the past except for inspiration. And
That's
so,
beautiful.
no matter where you're at, like you're at, here you are, and like this is the second best time. If you let some opportunity pass you by in the past, then just don't let the next one pass you by.
Yeah. Seize the moment. Thank you both. I really appreciate you being here, and I want to talk to you. So I've been talking to Cindy Todd and Tim Todd, and their website is PEMA.io. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. You've been listening or watching Zero Limits Living. The show is now seen or heard on 1,000 platforms, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon, Spotify, and probably anything you can mention. I'm putting all the shows in one place, ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com. Also, I invite you to check out my coaching, miraclescoaching.com. And there's a lot of other things to tell you, but I'll wait until next week. Meanwhile, I want to thank Lux Media Studios for making this possible. Nick, who's running the engineering today, Candace Barr has given me the opportunity. And I thank all of you. You're the ones I'm doing this for. I love you and expect miracles.